Hello book people, and welcome to Book Chat with me, Jett Tattersall, and also welcome to my garden. As you can see, greenery, ivy, wood, entertaining area. I just thought I'd get us all in nature, it's nice. And you can even hear the birds, so it's real, this isn't a set. Today I'm going to be talking to you about The Alphabet Gang by Tara Mitchell, published by ASJ. Now, this story is apparently the prequel to a series of books called Annabelle's Kingdom, which I haven't read, but I can now because I'm up to date with everyone because I've just read the prequel, finished it this morning. It's a book aimed at, I'm not going to say children because I think my 4-year-old wouldn't get through it. I mean, it's a sizable beast. I'm going like 10 to 13-year-olds, maybe even. Am I doing it right, Tara? Maybe a little bit higher, a little bit lower. I think everyone can enjoy it. It's definitely a family book. There's no filth in The Alphabet Gang and nothing too scary. It's a story of Annabelle, who's sat here, I'm guessing on the front, this cute little blonde girl here, and her friends, and her father, I'm saying this is Thomas, and the lovely Mrs. Hobbs sat right here. They're nicknamed the Alphabet Gang because, strangely enough, each of the children's names begin with the first letter of the alphabet. So we have Annabelle, we have Brian, we have Cody, we have David, and we have Eric. Got them off the top of my head, there we go. And they're a little gang, and they spend their summery days at this lovely lady here, Mrs. Hobbs, her house, building forts, playing fancy dress-ups, hosting parties, reading each other's stories, jumping in freezing lakes, eating pancakes, making coffee. They all drink coffee quite young in this book. That did concern me for their health, but maybe it's a thing in kind of middle America, I'm not sure. And just general kind of stickball good time, like fantasy fun. When you were, some people actually grew up like this, but I didn't. I call that TV childhood. They're basically having TV childhood in this book. Now Mrs. Hobbs is this great old lady with this old house. She's a widow, and she just has this barn and materials and everything for the kids to play in. And she just they live at her house. Like, they wave goodbye to their parents in the morning and just go and hang out with Mrs. Hobbs. I don't actually know how old Mrs. Hobbs is, as it's left out of the story, but considering she's wearing a little blanket and she had her son who died in Vietnam, and she seems to have dresses from the 20s. She's old, and I like to think if I get to Mrs. Hobbs' age, or even near Mrs. Hobbs' age, and I am still like hanging a wagon wheel from the rafter and calling it a chandelier, and I don't know, hosting parties and bobbing for apples and building forts, then I must be doing something right. I guess she discovered quinoa or chia seeds early, I'm not sure, but she's a very cool old lady, and she's kind of like the town advice giver as well. So when bad things happen, people go to Mrs. Hobbs and she kind of sorts it out. She still drives too. She does say that she's not very good at it, but she does drive. I digress. So, Annabelle's home life, peachy, lovely, all-American, just shine. There's oatmeal, there's pigtails, there's daisies on dresses, there's, I don't know, her dad makes things out of wood. He's made her a dollhouse. There's mum laughing with her beautiful freckles, and just all that thing, piggyback fights, and I don't know, arguments about who loves each other the most. All is great with the world until one day Annabelle's at the fair with her friend Eric, and her dad comes to pick her up, and there's been a terrible accident, and her mother and her sister were killed in a car accident by a drunk driver. And it's horrible, actually, because it's up until then it's just been parties and bonfires and orphaned kittens, and and it's harsh. And Annabelle's dad turns straight to alcohol, and Annabelle is kind of shoved or fostered into the care of Mrs. Hobbs, who comes to save the day. It's an interesting turn on the book, actually, because what started as kind of, to be honest, fluff, like cotton candy and kids could read and cuddle up to before they went to bed, suddenly gets quite dark. And I think Tara's done a really good job of talking kids through grief, and not just talking kids through grief, but also giving a very honest perspective of what can happen to grown-ups when, you know, basically things hit the fan. You know, Thomas turns straight to alcohol and like hard malt whiskey, probably not even malt, like hard, really cheap dime store kind of whiskey, and he gets angry, and Annabelle gets kicked out of the house and runs away, and it's really hard. I mean, she tries to stay positive through all of it, but you can kind of see she's doing it because she doesn't know what else to do. It's not because she's like this brave, amazing little girl that everyone sort of aspires to be. It's more like, what's your instant reaction as a person when something happens? What's your role? So it's that element is handled really beautifully. And obviously there's Mrs. Hobbs, the 116-year-old amazing super mum gran that kind of I don't know, flushes Thomas's head down the toilet. Well, she doesn't do that, but kind of shakes it out of him and helps Annabelle and gets the whole town rallying around to help him out, no matter how much her heart is breaking too. So yeah, it's a really sweet story, and I think it's good for children. I think little girls, particularly little tomboys, will eat this up because it's all like adventure, and you know, I don't know, it's not your average kind of little girl princess book. There is a bit of a sort of Christian religious element to it, which if you like that, you like that. I don't feel it was so necessary, but you know, it has its place. You know, it's very church going and be good to each other and that, and I think that message can come across without bringing God or the church into it, because that can often feel a little bit pushy. But other than that, I think it's a totally sweet book, and I think Tara's done a great job, and I'm definitely going to pass it on to my niece, who will just you know, she'll chow it down with a knife and fork. So the alphabet gang for Dr. Pepper and campfires and kittens and horse riding and oh god, grazing cattle and daisies and heart-shaped lockets and fancy dress and like kids being able to use power tools on their own, and basically the childhood that we used to watch on telly and didn't have for ourselves, or if we did have it, great, like you've succeeded. And this will be a nice reflection on your life to talk through with others. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.